could a post-slap Will Smith win another Oscar? Is Emancipation based on a true story? Here's all you need to know before seeing Smith's next big film. In just a few months, Will Smith's historical drama Emancipation will be hitting theaters and dropping on Apple TV+. And there are already people with extremely high hopes for this emotionally charged action epic. Based on a true story, Emancipation is intended to shine a light on the United States' most turbulent time in history, the American Civil War and the height of slavery in the South. Early reactions to the film have so far been very strong, with most people who've seen it offering up immense praise for the subject matter and themes on social media. According to Deadline, a private screening of Emancipation was held in early October by Apple Original Films and the NAACP, members of the Congressional Black Caucus, Historically Black College and Universities, the Divine Nine, National Council of Negro Women, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and other prominent groups were invited. On October 24th, Smith also held a private screening of Emancipation for some of his celebrity friends, including Rihanna, Dave Chappelle, and A$AP Rocky. Smith later took to his Instagram page to commemorate the event, saying, "Epic night. Thanks for coming to see Emancipation. Hope y'all enjoyed." But what everyone wants to know is when the public can actually see the historical film. According to Apple, Emancipation will get a limited release in theaters on December 2nd before hitting Apple TV Plus on December 9th, which is right in time for award season. Film experts and critics expect Will Smith, despite his 2022 Oscar controversy, to still be in the running for another gold statue next year. Associate Professor of Film Studies at the University of Sydney, Bruce Isaacs, tweeted, "There is huge Oscar buzz around Emancipation." For those who somehow missed what happened at the Academy Awards, Smith basically turned his entire life and career upside down. He did so with a swift slap to the face of comedian Chris Rock following a joke that Rock made about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Rock, who was on stage presenting an award, had poked fun at Jada for having a shaved head, which is reportedly due to alopecia. Smith would later apologize for his actions in an Instagram statement, saying his behavior was, quote, "unacceptable and inexcusable." He also released a recorded response on YouTube in July 2022 that featured multiple apologies to both Rock and his family.
This is probably irreparable.
With Emancipation not coming out until December, many experts feel like there's been enough time and apologies made by Smith for him to snag another Best Actor award at next year's Oscars, especially given the movie's subject matter. Emancipation is a film that centers around an enslaved man from the 1860s who escapes from a plantation and travels across the swamps of Louisiana to reunite with his family. It's ultimately based on the true story of Whipped Peter, who became famous during that time period for a picture that was taken of his severely scarred and whipped back. The image was published in The Independent and Harper's Weekly and helped open the nation's eyes to the horrors of slavery, especially in the South. Screenwriter Bill Collage reportedly used Civil War-era documents and Peter's very own diaries to help pen the script. Back in September 2021, Will Smith spoke to GQ magazine about what drew him to the Emancipation story, despite being hesitant to do movies about slavery in the past. This includes Django Unchained, which he famously turned down. Smith said, "This was one that was about love and the power of Black love, and that was something that I could rock with. We were going to make a story about how Black love makes us invincible." The official Apple Studios description of Emancipation describes Smith's Peter as a slave who manages to escape from a Louisiana plantation after being almost whipped to death. It further reads, "He had to outwit cold-blooded hunters and the unforgiving swamps of Louisiana on a torturous journey north." In addition to Will Smith, Emancipation is set to feature a number of familiar faces. Hell or High Water and 3:10 to Yuma star Ben Foster is slated to play a slave hunter named Faisal. Legendary character actor Stephen Ogg will be portraying a man named Sergeant Howard. Other cast members include Charmaine Bingwa, Gilbert Awar, Mustafa Shakir, Grant Harvey, Timothy Hutton, Michael Awaye, and several others. Speaking to The Guardian in April 2022, Foster described how the story that inspired Emancipation had really moved and resonated with him. especially since he had just finished making Barry Levinson's The Survivor about real-life Auschwitz survivor and boxer Harry Haft. Foster said, "Emancipation's about escaping the camps that America created with the African-American slave trade. The stark similarities that I learned, particularly after visiting Auschwitz, are staggering. We are students, and as students, it's not uncommon to feel a burden of new information, and it takes a moment to digest." Legendary Training Day director Antoine Fuqua is ultimately the one responsible for bringing Emancipation to life, with him serving as both director and executive producer on the film. He spoke to Deadline in depth over the summer about what inspired him to get in the director's chair and how the story of Whipped Peter is something that moved him as both a filmmaker and a person. Fuqua said, "It was the first viral image of the brutality of slavery that the world saw. It's almost 2 years now from when I first read the script. It hit my heart and my soul in so many ways that are impossible to convey." He explained how Whipped Peter's story hit close to home because of its family themes. Peter, after all, wouldn't give up until he returned to his family.
"I will look in triumph at my enemies